The internet is ablaze at the moment due to fresh allegations that assert something really outrageous about Jackie and Evelyn. Rumor has it that these two queens, who have had a good deal of turmoil in the past, may have been related to the same guy. It seems that the same secret is now upsetting everyone in their group. Let's be clear before we continue. We are not claiming that any of this is true. These are only the gossip and rumors that have been going around on social media. However, this may be one of the greatest shockers in reality TV history if even half of what is being said online is accurate. Already fans are making connections, sharing receipts, and even bringing up previous interviews that now make a lot more sense. What began as a few mysterious postings has now escalated into a major explosive event. So grab some popcorn and join us as we unravel the story of how Jackie and Evelyn's worlds collided. One guy, one secret, and a great deal of treachery. At first, no one took it seriously since it all began so subtly, like a whisper. A mysterious social media post about Evelyn's tale that said, "Some people play innocent until the truth finds them," caught the attention of a few intrigued admirers. No tags. Not a single emoji. No names. However, the timing? Too suspicious to overlook. Because Jackie had shared a picture of herself with the enigmatic remark, "Loyalty isn't a trend, it's a lifestyle," only hours before. That was all it needed for the internet to suddenly come alive. Fans first dismissed it as a coincidence. In a few hours, however, Twitter threads began to appear in which people asked, "Wait a minute, are Jackie and Evelyn discussing each other?" Subsequently, there were screenshots, receipts, and a torrent of rumors that neither of them could control. Thousands of comments began to pour into comment areas, including, "There is no doubt that they are subtweeting one another once more. There's something juicy happening behind the scenes. I'm still watching, even though these two are too mature for this." The excitement of traditional reality TV was there, but this time it was all taking place off camera. Some fan accounts said they had discovered the link. Old paparazzi photos, interviews, and even background information from a few seasons ago were unearthed. At that moment, a single name began to surface repeatedly. A guy that Jackie and Evelyn were allegedly connected to at very different times. To be clear, there is no confirmation of any of this. These are only the theories that people have put up online. However, based on those fan forums, the guy, who we'll name Marcus for the time being, wasn't only a passing fancy. Both ladies had collaborated with him, and he had access to their private and professional life. According to your version of events, a consultant, advisor, or friend of the show fans discovered that Marcus had been tagging Evelyn and Jackie in previous motivating messages that said things like, "Real women uplift each other, not compete." This is what makes it so crazy. Months later, the identical postings seemed to be blatantly ironic. Then, everyone was shocked by the old video. Jackie was questioned about trust issues in her group in an old interview that was unearthed by a fan almost 2 years ago. What did she say? "I've seen individuals attempting to create relationships with the same people I was devoted to while grinning in my face." However, karma always finds its way back. It didn't seem to be targeted at anybody in particular at the time. However, after observing that Evelyn had liked and then disliked the same interview footage when it emerged last week, viewers began to associate that moment with Evelyn. In the comments, fans were yelling, "She's guilty. She loved it by mistake. She's just trolling, no. You guys are exaggerating things," but also, the narrative suddenly took on a life of its own. You can tell something genuine is going on behind the scenes when rumors fade into quiet. Jackie and Evelyn avoided talking about it for days, but their internet presence was everything from subdued. Every carefully crafted caption, every post, and every no comment appeared to have a secret message. It seemed to those who were reading between the lines that both ladies were getting ready for something significant. Then the pivotal moment arrived. Jackie and Evelyn supposedly had a secret meeting. According to those familiar with the matter, remember, we're just discussing what is being published online. According to some, the talk was meant to be peaceful. Others said that it became one of the most intense discussions they had ever had. According to the narrative, Evelyn wanted to clear the air so that their tenuous bond wouldn't be ruined by what was going about online. However, it seems that Jackie arrived with questions, receipts and screenshots that had been accumulating for weeks. According to witnesses, or rather those who claimed to have been in the area, doors were slammed, voices were raised, and Evelyn was heard asking, "You think I wanted any of this? Do you believe that I didn't learn as much as you did?" According to reports, Jackie said, "Evelyn, you knew exactly what you were doing." Now don't pretend to be innocent. We can't be certain whether or not the interaction truly took place, but for days that version has dominated every fan forum and rumor site. People firmly believe that this altercation included more than simply a guy. It has to do with pride, treachery, and trust. Because the emotional impact is profound when your closest buddy turns into your greatest doubter after you've established your brand on loyalty. Jackie allegedly brought up certain dates during that conversation, when Evelyn had been out of town but still in contact with the same guy Jackie had been connected to. Evelyn was accused of concealing it. According to reports, Evelyn's response was that she had been duped like Jackie and had not recognized the overlap until it was too late. Evelyn responded, "He told me you two were done," according to those who say they know. "He gave me the impression that nothing was there." What was Jackie's reaction? When it's real, there's always something there, and fans have latched to that line, when it's real. Because it seemed as if she was discussing their friendship rather than simply passion. The type of camaraderie that is forged on and tested off the cameras. Online tensions increased after that purported altercation. A few hours later, Jackie replied, "Never apologize for seeing through fake energy." As Evelyn uploaded a dark screen with the words, "Sometimes silence speaks louder than truth," fans went crazy. Like investigators investigating a high-profile case, individuals examined every obscure hashtag and shade-throwing emoji. Podcast hosts began discussing who was really at blame as they covered the news. "This isn't just about love, this is about ego," one gossip presenter said. "These ladies have a history, and it's a ticking time bomb when friendship, business, and passion are combined." In the meanwhile, rumors started to spread that the altercation continued that evening. According to several sources, production crews had contacted them in an attempt to persuade them to reconcile, or at the very least go on camera to provide their perspectives. According to reports, both ladies declined, at least for the time being. Publicity was no longer an issue. This had a personal touch. Evelyn broke her silence in a tearful broadcast a few days later. Although she didn't mention names, her voice had that shaky, heavy quality that indicates something has been on her chest for too long. "Sometimes you stop asking why and start asking how to move on when people you love make decisions that hurt you," she added. It wasn't a bomb. There was no drama. It was raw, however. Additionally, it sounded like sadness wrapped in wisdom to followers who had been watching the drama. Hours after the broadcast concluded, Jackie shared an old picture of the two of them smiling together from years ago, but she didn't explicitly reply. "Good memories," was the straightforward caption. Difficult lessons, the internet was rocked by the message. It was seen as a peace offering by some. Others believed it to be nostalgia masquerading as shadow. People began to see there was more to the narrative somewhere in the middle, something neither of them was openly expressing. Another rumor then surfaced. According to a gossip site, Marcus, the guy at the heart of everything, has supposedly been using both women as contacts. According to the article, he had been playing both sides, presenting business ideas, and controlling emotions in order to achieve his goals. He allegedly offered Jackie an investment agreement and Evelyn a brand cooperation while feigning loyalty to both of them. He vanished as the facts began to surface, and it was a typical divide-and-conquer scenario. Evelyn and Jackie were both victims of the same game, if that portion of the narrative is accurate. It was not just betrayal from one another, but also from someone they both trusted, which is what made this encounter so agonizing. People close to the two ladies gave hints that there could yet be hope for reconciliation as the days went on. According to a mutual acquaintance, they've said worse things to each other before. This time, the difference is that the fury is accompanied with pain. However, the drama on the internet continued. New sources appeared every few hours, claiming to have inside information, a text message here, a tape there. Both ladies were obviously managing the emotional damage in their own ways, but the reality was still unclear. Jackie began posting inspirational messages about self-worth and healing. Evelyn posted about forgiveness and protecting peace, demonstrating her spiritual side. However, it was evident from their eyes, in pictures, in public, even in their smiles, that the anguish had not gone away. Both of these ladies seemed worn out at the moment, despite having built their professions on resiliency. Fans noticed a small change at the conclusion of the week. Neither had unfollowed Marcus. Silently, almost derisively, the guy in the center of the maelstrom continued to follow them both. The fire was rekindled by that detail. Inquiries from commenters included, Why is he still in their circle? Why maintain the link if they are really done with him? Some conjectured that it had to do with commercial relationships. Some believed it to be emotional connection. It was obvious that the narrative was far from done, regardless of the cause. Though it hadn't been resolved, the encounter had brought everything to light, including the betrayal, the misunderstanding, and the unsaid past. Additionally, both ladies seemed to be withdrawing, protecting whatever truth they were clinging to, while admirers argued over whom to trust. Nevertheless, it was clear that Jackie and Evelyn's relationship had been shattered in a manner that would never completely mend. However, a peculiar stillness persisted in the background, one that seemed to be related to unresolved matters, because sometimes realization is what remains after egos fade and passions calm. Despite how intense this encounter was, their journey didn't finish there. Though the whole picture was still unknown, it was the juncture when the truth began to emerge from the midst of the mayhem. Nobody realized that the greatest surprise was yet to come. If the earthquake was the encounter, the aftershock that followed was enormous. It seems like everyone on the internet had something to say about Jackie and Evelyn's predicament. Every fan site, blog, and response channel was analyzing every single statement, every quiet, and every post as if it were a real-life murder probe. Even though none of them had verified any information up to this point, everyone seemed to know the narrative. Supporters split into two groups, Team Evelyn and Team Jackie. What began as rumors became a global phenomenon as hashtags like #StandWithJackie and Justice for Evelyn began to spread. Individuals were taking part in the pandemonium rather than only observing it. Supporters of Jackie said that she was the true victim, claiming that after years of loyalty, she was taken by surprise by someone she thought of as a friend. However, Evelyn's supporters said that she had also been duped and was being unjustly portrayed as the bad guy when she was just as wounded. The arguments became heated. Users analyzed tone, body language, and even old images in lengthy discussions that developed on Reddit and X. In an attempt to demonstrate who copied whom first, several fans were sharing side-by-side comparisons of their attire, accessories, and captions. In the meanwhile, whether they wanted it or not, friends and relatives were forced into it. When Evelyn's daughter liked a remark that defended her mother, it became newsworthy. Loyalty doesn't mean staying silent when you've been disrespected, Jackie's cousin said in a mysterious Instagram story. Within minutes, images went viral, igniting fresh rumors. Then the messages were leaked. Unexpectedly, a site that specializes in exclusive insider tea released what it said were conversations concerning Evelyn between Jackie and an unidentified buddy. The messages indicated that Jackie was waiting for the right time to confront Evelyn and that she had been aware of Marcus's participation for longer than she disclosed. Nobody knew whether those messages were genuine or not, but that didn't stop the internet from going crazy. YouTubers created hour-long analyses with titles like Jackie's Betrayal Timeline and Why Evelyn Might Walk Away for Good. Even mainstream outlets picked up the story, framing it as a lesson in friendship, fame, and blurred boundaries. Commentators referred to it as one of the messiest reality TV adjacent scandals of the year, but the consequences extended beyond the internet. In private, the emotional toll was becoming evident. According to those close to Evelyn, she has been avoiding public appearances, concentrating on her family, and keeping to herself. She's exhausted, a source told one site. Jackie, on the other hand, was apparently focusing her energies on her job, including business meetings, projects, and anything else that might divert her from the incessant hum. She feels as if no matter what she says, others would pervert it. Nevertheless, both facades had visible fissures. At a charity function, Jackie was seen dabbing at her emotions. Fans could sense that two ladies were crying in real time behind all the glitz and public relations smiles when Evelyn shared a tale with the caption, "You can't pour from an empty cup." It became much crazier when other reality TV stars reacted. During an Instagram Live, one of their former co-stars joined in, stating, "I've seen both sides of them. Neither is an angel." Just that remark fanned the flames, escalating the situation into a full-fledged spectacle. Within seconds, a snapshot of each statement and response was published across many sites. Even Marcus, who was in the center of everything, was unable to escape the storm at this point. Fans were now looking into every woman he had ever communicated with. His name was trending, and his previous postings were overflowing with snake emojis. He disappeared from social media and disabled comments, but this just increased suspicion. Why vanish if you have nothing to conceal? Fans inquired. Rumors started to circulate that he had contacted both ladies in private to clear his name. According to one source, he even attempted to apologize, but neither of them replied. If that's the case, then Jackie and Evelyn were both now seeing that the same individual had manipulated them, and perhaps they were beginning to view one another as victims of the same deception rather than as adversaries. Nevertheless, the harm was done. Their mutual trust was destroyed. They weren't simply dealing with a guy betraying them. They were also dealing with someone who was aware of their past, understood the depth of their bond, and took advantage of it. Additionally, both ladies were having to deal with the aftermath of a very painful and public unraveling while the internet was busy picking sides. We don't know what really happened, so maybe stop attacking them, said some fans, while others redoubled their efforts, claiming that Jackie's milking the drama for clout, or Evelyn, owes Jackie an apology. It became so heated that one entertainment site said that both ladies had been given the opportunity to appear on a televised reunion special, which would allow them to confront the rumors directly. Although there is still no proof if it is real, it may be the moment of great drama that everyone has been anticipating. Amidst all of this, an unforeseen event occurred. When a footage from an earlier interview that featured Jackie and Evelyn laughing about how men can never come between real friends reappeared, it struck a new chord. Rather of laughing, many expressed their sorrow in the comments. One user commented, "Wonderful how that aged." Another said, "Back then, they truly meant it." Two women who had created something together were now being pulled apart by rumors, presumptions, and perhaps some truth. It was like seeing history play out backwards. After 3 weeks of constant pandemonium, fatigue began to set in. Even the most devoted fans began to question if they had all gone too far when the same sites that had stoked the rumors started publishing remarks about mental health and advising supporters to let them heal. The internet, however, never sleeps. Another surprise emerged just as many were starting to move on. Marcus was heard stating, "They'll never believe I didn't plan it that way," in a voicemail that was released, supposedly from him. There is no proof that the recording was genuine, but that one statement rekindled the fire. Some thought it was a hoax. Some said it sounded just like him. The story suddenly turned around once again. Instead of seeing Jackie and Evelyn as competitors, fans began to perceive them as two women entangled in a manipulator's web. We all realized at that moment that perhaps neither was really at blame. Perhaps the one who started it all was the true villain. One concern remained, however, in spite of this newfound empathy. Could the two ladies ever really forgive one another if they had been wronged? Had the fallout spread too far for them to fix, or could they move beyond the damage? Because Jackie and Evelyn's wounds remained fresh, even after the audience had moved on to the next viral controversy. Under the limelight of public opinion, the connection, the relationship, and the trust all burnt. And just when it seemed that everything was finally starting to calm down, another secret, something more profound than anybody had anticipated, was about to come to light. The same individual, the same tale. This time, however, the secret was not one of love, but rather one of treachery that went far beyond what any of them could have predicted. And that's the current situation. Jackie and Evelyn, two strong women whose bond seemed indestructible at one point, are now engulfed in a whirlpool of gossip, heartache, and unanswered questions. What began as internet rumors turned into one of the year's most talked about controversies involving reality television. The whole truth is unknown at this time. Was it all a miscommunication stoked by the pandemonium on social media? Or did everything fall apart behind the scenes because of a single guy and a single secret? There is still disagreement among fans. Some claim they will never again have faith in Evelyn. Some people think Jackie was staged to seem like the antagonist. Furthermore, some people believe that both of them were only puppets in the devious scheme of another. However, there is no denying that there is an emotional cost. It is audible in their quiet. When they emerge in public, you can see it in their eyes. No matter how resilient you are, it takes time to recover when loyalty becomes news. What comes next is the key question now. Are Jackie and Evelyn ever going to have a conversation and share their perspectives? Would we see them getting back together in front of the cameras? Or have they said and done too much to undo? We'll be closely monitoring the situation since, if the rumors are even partially accurate, this story is far from done. What do you believe really transpired between Evelyn, Jackie, and this enigmatic man? Is this the last chapter in their friendship? Or do you believe they'll ever mend it? We would love to hear your opinions, so please leave a comment below. Remember to press the subscribe button, like this video, and enable alerts so you don't miss any of the next updates on this continuing reality TV phenomenon. Until the next time, keep an eye out, be interested, and keep in mind that nothing in the world of celebrity remains a secret for very long.